Have you ever met the connector? Well, he ponders, he helps, he creates, he writes, he speaks. He basically connects people and brings them together. I speak about Paul Solano of PS and All Marketing Group. At psandallmarketinggroup.com, you will receive an assembled group of Paul's contacts and connections that cross into many sectors of life. Please contact Paul Solano at 617-240-4130 or psandallmarketinggroup@gmail.com if you are in the market for a wide array of services. Again, please contact the connector, Paul Solano, at 617-240-4130 or psandallmarketinggroup@gmail.com with any questions. And now, here's Paul Solano, the host of Paul Ponders.
Welcome to Hashtag Paul Ponders. I've really enjoyed bringing you fun, informative, intriguing, and pondering podcasts. Many thanks to Hashtag PodPro Entertainment. Today's collaborating sponsor, Scott Albertson of Hashtag Project142.org, Riverworks Credit Union, NMLS number 410564, and Remax Renaissance Realty of Reading. Thanks for listening, rating, reviewing, and subscribing. Let Hashtag Paul Ponders begin. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another Paul Ponders podcast. I am absolutely honored to have my guest on this episode, and his name is Mr. Levy Yamamori. And I've been called the connector. Well, I am just totally blown away that we have the connector of nature. Ran is a passionate educator who shares his experiences through training educators and the younger generation in documenting nature by writing, drawing, and filming in Japan, the European Union, Africa, and the Middle East. Very happy and honored to have Levy Yamamori. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Paul, for having me. Let's have fun.
Absolutely, it really is great. And we're recording this episode. We're in Massachusetts, and you're in Israel right now. So I really appreciate you getting up at 4 a.m. to be on this episode of Paul Ponders.
Thank you very much. It's an early morning, but a beautiful one. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, my friend. Now, I first heard about you and I experienced your work through our mutual friend, Paul PJ C. And you had, in fact, done many things with Paul's dad, Paul L. C. The founder and executive director of Gotham Whale. And I watched with a lot of interest what you have put together with Ocean's Angels. So if you want to let our listeners know what Ocean's Angels is all about.
Ocean Angels is a series or an eclectic series of short documentaries from 10 minutes to 20 minutes or sometimes more about people that I meet on the way along my filming and that I find very interesting, inspirational, and that they dedicate their lives for saving the oceans, especially marine mammals, but not only. And their story is fascinating enough that on the way, while working on other documentaries, I interview and I create short documentaries that I hope will open the hearts of people to understand better the oceans and to fall in love with the oceans and with these peoples, of course.
Absolutely fascinating. And you really do have a lifetime, a career in advocacy and all about nature, eco nature productions.
Yes, I started by producing and creating documentaries for the Japanese national TV. And I always felt that it was not really my stories. It was not really what I wanted to focus. And then about 15, 20 years ago, I started to have enough confidence that I can do something of my own. And it started with small documentaries, and the last big one the last feature that came out is Bridging Troubled Waters, about my work with the children of the whale hunters on the Faroe Islands, which ended about 4 years ago, and was well accepted in the world of film festivals around the world. It's a very delicate subject. It's a subject about a conflict between actually activists and local traditions. And I had to deal with it with using all my experience actually as an educator from one side, and I think as also someone who understands what a conflict is, being born in Israel and living here all my life, Uh, and that's how it brought me to my current film, which is It's About Time.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I do, in fact, want to focus in on It's About Time, and it's something that I have seen, the trailers, I've seen, a very close to finish, wonderful production, and is absolutely awesome, and I know in the beginning, it says in 1979, you, it all started there, and if you wanna let our listeners know what It's About Time is all about.
You know, on 1979, I was on board of a commercial ship and just uh, hitchhiking, w- wanting to explore the world. And during that time, I always loved the ocean because, I learned how to swim because my father took me to a jetty in the port of Haifa, where I was born, simply kicked me, and I flew off to the Mediterranean, at first screaming. I think all the city heard me. And then, overcoming a little bit the fear, I opened my eyes and saw the wonders of what was in the water, and I fell in love immediately when I was a kid. So in 1979, when I was crossing the ocean, I was actually on the way to Canada, and I experienced a life-changing event that was, mind blowing. As we approached the Canadian shores, I witnessed hundreds or even thousands of humpback whales. It was back then, huge aggregation of humpback whales preparing to migrate south. And this image actually changed my life. It was the time that I decided to buy a camera. Who had a camera at this time? So the first thing I got when I got to New York, I bought a camera and I continued my way down to Florida and from there to South America. And I was invited to visit together with my family members that I had there. I was invited to Seaquarium. It was the beginning of the orca shows at that time after a very successful series of Flipper. Rico Barry was one of the trainers. And while all the audience were cheering and happy, I couldn't understand how you can take an orca and simply put it in a bathtub. And all the people were cheering, and I was literally crying. I couldn't understand how humans can do this. And this was the moment that I became an activist. It brings me back to Bridging Troubled Waters because about 4 years ago, I won a prize in a film festival in Los Angeles, and I was invited to the ceremony. And during that time, after seeing so many mass killing of dolphins and whales on the Faroe Islands and editing the film, time after time, watching all these terrible, horrifying scenes of hundreds of dolphins lying slaughtered on a beach, I wanted to refresh, I wanted to delete these memories because it was very painful and very, I had nightmares. And I wanted to reset my brain with fresh um, memories. So I went to San Diego to film seals, sea lions, dolphins, whales. An amazing world out there in San Diego, unbelievable. And while being in San Diego and refreshing my or resetting my brain, I saw all over billboards of publicities, for SeaWorld. And curiosity kicked in because as a father, I never took my kids to these places, dolphinariums and zoos. I always prefer to watch nature with them, even if it's in the garden or in a nearby park, not in a zoo. And then I realized that even though I was already in my 60s, nothing has changed. People were still cheering orcas in a bathtub, actually. And there was one moment which, again, was shocking for me. They screamed in the show "Orcas in the Wild," and I saw the orcas in that bathtub staring at these orcas when they had some free time in between tricks, and this was the moment where It's About Time was born. I decided to investigate, first of all, the industry, how they hunt, how they train, how they trade with these animals. And then also, I wanted to give hope. I didn't want to stop there. Then I started seeing if there are any technologies or what can we do to change it, because it's been already 4 or 5 decades that we activists couldn't actually change. I wanted to understand what is wrong, and this is the film.
Wow, that's great. Now, how long of a film is it? How many minutes?
It's about 1 hour. I didn't want to. I could make it 5 hours, but I think people watching a documentary have a certain amount of patience, and if you stretch it too much, people lose their attention. I wanted to make it profound from one side, very deep, going through everything, but still letting them having some fun during 1 hour and not suffering over.
Absolutely. And I did notice from watching not only the trailers, but also with the film itself that's almost complete. The subjects related to the need to end these live shows and the captivity. Maybe if you want to touch upon that, please.
Can you kindly repeat the question, please? I
Oh,
didn't hear
sure.
you
By
well.
all means. Sorry about that. About the subjects that related to the need to end these live shows and in captivity. You really focus in on those topics of discussion.
Well, it's very surprising because even in those terrible places that treat the animals so badly, like Japan, to train one dolphin to show or to be able to appear in a show, they have to catch about 100 of dolphins, of which about 90 will be slaughtered, and 9 to 10 will be trained, and most of them will be slaughtered as well, or sold, or not being able to be sold because they are not trained well. um, so in Japan and also in China, the biggest market for these dolphins, um, you know, there I found among the best solutions that can replace the technologies exist already. One of them is an amazing whale shark robot that already performs in China with living sharks, in a big aquarium, one of the most beautiful that I've ever seen. So this technology is already existing, but it's not widely spread, used enough. And also in Japan, I've seen an amazing guy who is also an ocean angel, by the way. Haruyoshi Kawai is a great guy, very creative, who succeeded to create um, very interactive shows. Actually, the audience is much more interactive. You see their kids running up and down and they're hugging the three. It's not really three-dimensional. It's a screen show that looks exactly like real. And you see the audience there reacting to these animals. It's a very complicated system of sensors and screeners, and the computer senses the people in front of the screen, and the animals on screen are reacting to the kids. It's unbelievable.
That is
So this
fascinating.
is another solution. And in the US, there is a very interesting, promising solution that is not commercial yet. It's robots that looks and behaves and interacts with people, that looks like a dolphin and behaves like a dolphin, but it's a robot operated by people.
That is absolutely fascinating. So, what about the funding on a project like this? How do you, in fact, fund this project, like it's about time or any other documentaries you do?
Uh, don't tell it to my wife, but I had to dig in my pockets to start everything. And then Animal Welfare Institute, for example, supported me to film in China. It's an American-based international NGO. They supported me to go filming in China, Japan, and other places. Some private people who love my work and love seeing wildlife, less suffering, supported me, and I still have to, to find some sources to finish it in a level that will be presentable better on screen. But it's a very low budget film. I think if Hollywood had to make it, it would cost between 10 to 20 times more. Because I'm working alone, I take my cameras. I have a huge network of nature-loving people and whales and dolphins loving people that connect me and help me. And Gotham Whale was actually also, a big help for me. I had to film whales and I had to film dolphins, and I sailed with them several times, and they were generous enough just to have me. And this is a great help. The fact that I don't have expenses, that someone is hosting me like that on a boat and very generously allow me to film without costs. I mean, less cost, because there is always the cost of traveling and accommodation and everything. So I'm working on a very low budget, but with a very big belief that it is possible to do these things.
Wow, that is absolutely fascinating. As we start to wind down, if you want to let our listeners in Paul Ponder's land know how they could reach you, how they could possibly be an investor, how they could make a donation, or really just look at your wonderful works that you have, in fact, procured through the years as a documentary filmmaker, writer, and producer, filming worldwide. So, how could our listeners in Paul Ponder's land reach you, my friend?
Facebook is a very good place to start with. I have a very large YouTube channel full of short documentaries in various and very interesting subjects, from vultures to whales, from I mean, immense subject that I've been able to do in the last 10, 20 years. And also, of course, there is my email and people can contact me. And there is my Vimeo channel, which some of the films are open, and people can see quite interesting documentaries from Africa to Japan, from oceans and oil pollution to almost any subject. It's a long list of documentaries.
That is absolutely fascinating, my friend. Well, Levy Yamamori, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to be on with us. And do you have any parting thoughts, final thoughts?
First of all, thank you very much for having me. And although we are in the other side of the ocean, the ocean is connecting us. And I just wish for better days, for the ocean's environment, for our children. We need hope. And hopefully my film will also bring hope. I didn't want to be stuck only in the suffering of the animals. I I am always looking for the light. As my wife says, I'm a fatal or terminal optimistic.
Wow. Well, with that, my friend, God bless. And I want to thank you again. That is the ultimate hashtag indeed. I trust that you have enjoyed hashtag Paul Ponders. Again, my name is Paul Solano of PS&All Marketing Group, and I may be reached via email at paul@paulponders.com to do some more pondering. Many thanks to my longtime collaborative friend and associate, Chalonzo Amos of Pod Pro Entertainment, in bringing you our fun, exciting, and informative podcasts. You rock, Techie Chalonzo. With PS&All Marketing Group, I created a side gig to connect you and get things done. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me at paul@paulponders.com with any questions. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Paul Ponders. Follow us on Twitter at Paul Ponders Pod. Follow us on Instagram at Paul Ponders Podcast. Thank you again for listening to hashtag Paul Ponders, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our website, paulponders.com, or wherever you stream your podcasts. Subscribe, stream, rate, and review our shows. Your ratings and reviews help our show reach new audiences. Produced by Pod Pro Entertainment, hashtag Paul Ponders lives within a network of podcasts located at podproentertainment.com. Hashtag the new radio. Until we meet again, my friend, stay well. Hashtag indeed.